Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
This is a different one. We get to talk about a TV show. Devil May Cry, the new
Yes.
anime out now on Netflix, came out a couple days ago.
hmm
We have both watched through this whole thing. I think
hmm
you just finished it like 10 minutes ago, so
Literally just finished it, yeah.
no idea how you feel about it. I'm just going to start off by saying I freaking loved this thing. It was
It's very
so
good.
good.
It's so good. It's I had because I watched Castlevania. And Castlevania I had like I don't know a lot about this game. It's like, okay, it's at least gonna be like fine. Like at Castlevania at its worst is fine. So I was like, okay, at worst is gonna be fine. I was like, oh, actually this is really, really good. And like, I think the big part of that is that they aren't beholden to one Devil May Cry story, but they really picked smart pieces
Yes.
from like the Devil May Cry, all 5 games in different ways, shape, or all 6 games, I guess. They picked like different pieces from it to make like their own story that still felt extremely Devil May Cry, but had all this like new stuff in it. So yeah, they and like it was interesting. The action was awesome. It just like totally killed it. It was awesome.
For sure. I think it's also worth stating we're both giant Devil May Cry fans.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Yes.
that might influence our opinion as well, that it's just a very cool adaptation of that thing that we already love. I was surprised by how much I love it. I don't really watch much anime like at all, unless it's the first season of Castlevania or this or whatever other video
Sure.
game happens to get an anime is about all I watch of it. So something brand new for me. But I think just the coolest part for me was just how much it hit the tone right. There's
Yeah.
there's a weird seriousness to it, but a whole lot of dumb goofy to it. It just everything seemed like it was kind of right on the line where I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I think that they explore a part of like Dante that I guess it wasn't like really you're aware of in the games, like playing them, but like they make it way more explicit that like he is goofing around, but then when he locks in, he like is he's like a superhero basically. Like he's like, oh yeah, hey, I'm goofing around. But there are a few scenes in it, actually some like really cool emotional scenes where he's goofing around. I'll try to be like kind of light on spoilers.
Yes, for sure.
There's a part where he's goofing around and there's a woman who reminds him of his mother and he's goofing with the woman, and then all of a sudden like he reminds her of his mother, and then he like changes his speech entirely. He's like, no, I'm gonna help you. Like he tells her like, oh, this is a crazy situation, right? And then he like reminds me, and then he like kind of says, nope, you're gonna be safe, I will save you, don't worry about it. And then he saves her. I was just like, oh, that's like really cool of that character where he's not Deadpool.
No.
Where he's kind of a goofy guy a lot of the time or sad, but it's just like, no, he's like a person who can be a hero. And it was kind of cool, like seeing that sort of like superhero aspect that I think isn't shown in the games because he's not around people.
Never.
But if Dante was around people, this is how he would act, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think just to kind of get into the storyline here, I also really liked the villain, the rabbit character.
Sure.
Great villain, super menacing from the initial scenes all the way through. I like that there's a very clear arc for him in this, and it almost felt like at times it felt more like his show, just because I feel like he was such the focal point, even more so than Dante a lot. There are a lot of episodes where I felt like Dante kind of took a back seat between being like locked up in a car, drugged again, like whatever. Like
sure.
There's a lot of Dante just kind of like laying in the back while like the rabbit or a couple other characters are doing kind of their thing. But I really liked, he just starts off as just this evil, menacing villain, and then you kind of see what his plan and his growth through it, that I think by the end you really, really get a good sense of that character. I think he's probably the best developed character in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was really cool. There's kind of a funny gag at the beginning where they're saying it's like, oh no, it's a demon terrorist. And then they kind of like really expand on that idea.
Yes,
like,
a lot.
What? A lot. But like in a really interesting way of just like, oh, they're going to kind of, when they like explain the character's motivations and how it is a little bit complicated, and it's not in that sort of it's this game brings in a lot of politics stuff, which I thought which is like definitely not in the text of Devil May Cry, the games and stuff, but I thought it was just like really interesting, especially how they deal with that character and a lot of things like between hell and like earth.
Yeah.
It's really funny because like I think a lot of politics stuff really works in the show's favor in kind of fun, unique ways. I don't want like, I'm not trying to get too into it, but it's just like, but mostly around how Sharon's the characters. Also, like the main character is like the vice president who's like extremely religious.
Yes. That was super interesting to me. Just like how much is like, it doesn't matter what you do, God will save us. And it's like, oh, okay, this is weirdly like going on the whole, like we're really bringing that side of this into it.
You got to see a lot of how humans, this world reacts to things. You usually see that in like the opening cutscene of a Devil May Cry game.
Yeah.
In 5, you see a little bit of that, but then like everybody runs away, everybody gets killed, so you never actually see that like human interaction. So I really liked that aspect of the show. What you're really focused on is like, okay, how do humans and demon hunters sort of exist in this world? And they create a world that's like not necessarily in the games, but it's just like a really cool idea. And I don't want to get into Easter egg stuff because that does get kind of annoying. It's like, oh, did you see that part? Did you see that part? Like as fans of it, because like if you don't know the thing, it's like I don't know if that's anyway, interesting. But like the thing that's really cool is that the world they built is a really neat mix of all of the games and all like interesting aspects of it. Like one of the main characters, Enzo, is like Dante's broker. And he is like just in the manuals. I thought that was like really cool. Like, but like they give a lot of characterization in DMC1 comes from that manual from that character. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool seeing them like on screen. So I really just like that kind of like human-y aspect and just how Dante and the story plays out because of that. And that's where they have like the president and all sort of stuff in it, all sorts of stuff in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I did think like because you had like this like super force that was demon hunters too that just kind of out of nowhere that was I think again just kind of this really interesting thing of how like oh yeah like we know about these demons and parts know about these demons and there's a whole corporation dedicated to hunting these and all people know about like there's all kinds of this background knowledge of like this stuff is happening where I don't think you get any of that in the games where like none of that stuff. It's just Dante demons pretty much go. And this, it's like, no, there's other demon hunters and other people know about these, and the president knows about this, and the government's doing things with it, and there's research, and it's just, I liked how they expanded on that stuff I think that's because they weren't strictly following, like, we are doing Devil May Cry 1. We are doing Devil May Cry 5. It's no, we're kind of we're peeling back and looking at, okay, as a franchise, what is Devil May Cry? And I think this really zoned in on, like, this is the stuff, now how can we make that interesting? If you are somebody who hasn't played every game 3 times, hasn't gone back and read the manual for Devil May Cry 1.
It was really cool of how much new stuff they were bringing while it still felt like Devil May Cry. Like, like the whole show, like the interesting aspects, not interesting, but it's like as a fan, the whole show is like set during the daytime, and you almost never see daytime in Devil May Cry. So it's like this kind of big sort of tonal change. They have all these characters that you've never seen before, all this stuff you've never seen before that would never be in Devil May Cry game, but it all like the entire time the show is running it, like all of this feels very in line with the mythos of the game and the tone of the game and all that stuff. So I thought it was really impressive how much new stuff, including the villain, that was like was done so well, and like they gave hints to other stuff, but I did like that like it kind of felt like light Easter egg stuff and not just like the show was dependent on Easter eggs or like knowing Devil May Cry. One of the characters I really do like that they expanded on a lot was Lady.
Yes.
Because Lady, or I guess Mary, she is like one of the coolest characters in Devil May Cry, and they used her very well in DMC3 and then kind of never again. So I thought it was just really cool, kind of like seeing that character again, and then kind of they recontextualize how she works in that universe a little bit, but she still has the same kind of tone of character and a similar backstory, which I thought was like really, really cool. And I did like how they sort of. I mean, I'm trying not to get into spoilers, but like how her team functions in that universe is like, there's a lot of like hoorah good guy stuff that they kind of talk about from a different perspective later in the series. I was like, this show is like sometimes like much smarter than you think it's going to be.
It has any right to be, if we're being honest here.
Yeah, exactly. I I mean, there's like good dumb action stuff, like they get good dumb Dante stuff right, and then also it's like there's some episodes that are like, this is like a really kind of smart, interesting way of looking at this character in this universe. And this universe is like a whole. That's really cool. Like, I'd love to see a game like set in this universe. I'm totally fine with like. I mean, I like DMC, so I'm always like, throw out this stuff and like bring in. I would love a reboot of this kind of like idea.
Yeah, and I think all that stuff serves to make it a compelling TV series versus a game.
Yeah,
I mean, you need this stuff. I mean, I love Devil May Cry a lot, but it's pretty paper thin. It's pretty like, Mundus did some stuff. You're the son of Sparta. The demons are invading. Make it stop. To really boil it down.
Yeah.
And this, like, you have to expand on this, and every single thing that they did to expand on it, I felt like worked well and never felt like it was stepping on the toes of anything where it's like, oh, like,
Yeah.
I get it, we need to change how we talk about this, but that's not really how it works. It's like, oh no, that's a thoughtful explanation of how that would be, or this makes sense that this type of thing would happen.
Yeah, it was almost weird. Like, I think like kind of like the weaker part of the shows are like direct references to the shows, like to the games. I mean, there's like a cast of demon characters that are like, it's kind of cool. They have like a sort of legion of demons, and they pull one from each game. So like I think except maybe two. Or I don't know if the morph guy's from 2, but like they have like a character for Devil May Cry 5 and 3 or 4 and 3 and 1, and that's kind of like this sort of like, I don't know, not the main villain, but like his like sort of sidekicky characters.
Yeah.
And like they were done correctly. That is how they are done in the game, but like they just didn't have like a lot to do or a lot to say, and there's kind of like, oh, we're good for fights basically. So when I felt like when it was directly referencing the game, that's when it was its weakest. And like when it was actually doing something kind of new, exciting in that universe, that's usually when it's doing something better.
Yeah. I think we would be highly mistaken to not talk about the incredible music in this thing.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
This was like my like middle school playlist on top of my middle school game, like in a crazy well done anime. The music scenes in this are incredible. I feel like there was like when Limp Bizkit came out for the theme song, I was like, really? It's like, no, it fits. I love it. It's perfect. Flawless. And then and then just every other song choice fits so well. There's one, and I think I can't remember if it's the end of episode 1 or in episode 2. There's one that like the first like really kind of big moment was like, oh, this is cool. This is like amazing. Like, and then just the way they use some of the game music in there, some pop culture license music, almost all stemming from like 2000 to 2005, like just rock, and it's just. It makes an old middle-aged person very happy.
Yeah, it's the whole show is kind of set in that era. Yeah. Like it's all set in like they don't say it's set in 2005, but like a lot of that stuff that comes out of it of like it's gonna sound silly, like not to get spoiled, like about the Iraq War and stuff was like all in that period. So it's just like it is really cool that the licensed music coming from that time period too. There were some songs in there I was like very shocked, got into it, and it's like. And it's funny because, like, during that era, like, everybody's like, yeah, Limp Bizkit sucks. Like, yeah, kind of, but Rollin' is also a good song. Like, I think we could, like...
They have their three.
Yeah, and there's some songs in there that you're like, yeah, man, this song freaking rocks. Like, it's not one that you, like, necessarily... Yeah, like, honestly, though, I don't want to spoil the one that, like, got to me, but it was not the ones we're talking about, but it's just like... Yeah, like I don't want to spoil it, but there's just some like really good stuff. Like it's like, oh, that song, and it's just like it does really hit that like nostalgia bone for me. So I'm actually kind of curious, like if like people who are no familiar with the series, like how they would feel about this, like would they enjoy it at all? I have like no idea.
If you're a 20-year-old with very little knowledge of early 2000s pop culture music, early 2000s politics, and early 2000s video games. Where would this show fit for you? Because it is everything about it is pointing to that time period.
Yeah, I have no idea, and I definitely don't want to talk about I thought the ending was really cool.
Same.
But it's like speaking of like strong music cues, like
so good. The ending one was
so good. It's so good. Yeah, I don't know. I really like the show. And I've seen similar shows to this that I think were like I've seen mostly Castlevania show. And I felt like this one was much brisker. It didn't feel like a lot of filler in it. I feel like the thing I didn't have had issues with the Castlevania shows that the plot moves really slow through like many episodes. So there's just a lot of like characters talking about whatever to get to the next fight scene. Well, this one was like, no, actually there was like some edge of my seat stuff. Especially like there are particular episodes where they're explaining where characters are coming from, like their point of view. Yeah. Sort of thing, and like I was like, this is just good television. It's like regardless of being like good for a Devil May Cry anime, like this, like some episodes in that were just like, this is just great television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately why I loved it so much, because it doesn't feel like we said, you don't need the games. It doesn't feel like it's just like Oh yeah, it's cool action scenes. It's just it had everything going for it in a great way. Again, like you said, I mean, coming from the opposite side of like I've watched literally no anime probably in 5 years. This was incredible to me. You've seen some, you've seen a lot, still incredible. So I mean, it's hitting all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not a lot, but
exactly.
Substantially more than me.
Yeah. I mean, I think I just love that they just brought a bunch of new stuff to Devil May Cry. Yep. I always feel like Devil May Cry kind of needs an injection of a take, and DMC, while it was like really controversial, I feel like was a take.
Yep.
And I feel like Devil May Cry World has not had a take until this anime, where it's like, nope, this is a new fresh take on this that is interesting and still in line with Devil May Cry.
Absolutely. Season 2, I think you got to see. Did you get season 2 yet?
I mean, it's a
Netflix show. Doesn't every
Netflix we'll do a spoiler cast?
doesn't
I don't know. That'd be a fun way to.
Just because there's kind of a cliffhanger at the end doesn't mean.
Yeah.
But I feel like every Netflix show gets 2 seasons. I feel like that's like a Netflix thing. Everybody, you get 2 shots, and then we decide.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I'm excited, and I'm excited for it. So we'll see. I'm really curious how they follow that up, though. We'll see.
It'll be great. If they did this. It's the same people. It's do this again, and I will be happy.
Sure.
So, we are Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below. There's a link to Sports and Coffee as well. We'll see you later.
Bye.